just get started.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Planning Commission for December 13th, 2022 to order. First, we will now take a moment for silent prayer or meditation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Commissioner Williams. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Paulina, roll call, please.
Yes, good evening, Chair and fellow commissioners. Commissioner Heng? Commissioner Williams?
Present.
Commissioner Becerra is absent. Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Here.
And Chair Lewis?
Present. All right, moving on to approval of minutes. Tonight we have minutes from the regular Planning Commission meetings for October 11th, 2022 and November 22nd, 2022. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. Moving on, would anyone like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the public hearing. We have one public hearing scheduled for tonight. Paulina, who will present the staff report for the public hearing tonight?
Good evening. Miriam will be providing that presentation this evening.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. The item before you is for the property located at 993 South Glendora Avenue. The entitlements being requested are conditional use permit number 22-05 for the allowed use of live entertainment and administrative use permit number 22-13 for the on-site sale of beer and wine. The property is located on the northwest corner of South Glendora Avenue and East Vine Avenue. It is currently zoned as neighborhood commercial. The surrounding uses consist of single-family residential, multifamily, office professional, service commercial, and neighborhood commercial. The overall lot size is 8.83 acres. Here we have the overall site. We are focusing on that pink outline there that shows the overall area that the AUP requested would cover. And those two yellow rectangles show the two locations of the live entertainment where the stages would go. Here we have a closer view of that outdoor stage. For the operation, the live entertainment would be permitted in those two areas. One is located indoors and one is located outdoors, both within dining areas. For the live entertainment, amplified sound would be permitted only indoors and outdoors on Fridays and Saturdays, but no later than 10 p.m., and on-site alcohol sales in conjunction with restaurants. Every restaurant would obtain their individual ABC license from the ABC License Department directly. Events that can take place would consist of seasonal events, musical entertainment, arcade/family fun, themed events, craft markets, farmers markets, grocery markets, weddings, and private events. Planning staff recommends adopting resolution number 226116 and resolution number 226117, approving both conditional use permit 2205 and administrative use permit 2213. We do have the applicant here for any questions, and I'm available for any questions as well. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions before we turn it over to the applicant?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Heng, any? All right. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. The first speaker is going to be the applicant, Tommy, is it Lee?
Tommy Lee, yes.
Tommy Lee. All right. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for having us here. Do you want me to give like a background on the project, or how does this?
Sure. If you can, give us a background and then kind of give us what you're looking for, and frankly, if you have any issues with the recommendations made by staff.
Okay. Haven City Market is a project that I've started in. The concept was in 2016, and we did construction and started in 2019. Opened our doors in Rancho Cucamonga. So this is our second location in West Covina. The current location in Rancho has been it's been up and going for about 3 years now. We have about 35 restaurants under one roof, which is when it comes to food halls wise, we're probably one of the biggest. And it's been a great ride so far, and it's been we're looking to constantly add better and more, I guess, forward creative food vendors. So we're always searching for that, and so far it's been good. So according to the AUP, the reason why we pushed for AUP was the goal was, for example, we opened in 2019. COVID happened and everything got shut down like 4 months afterwards, right? But the fact that the city of Rancho Cucamonga had the ability for these restaurants, these small restaurants, doesn't matter if it's 300 square feet to 1,000 square feet, they had the ability to apply for a beer and wine license and liquor license. It allowed for our vendors to really kind of add an extra 20% to their revenue with a high margin item. Inadvertently, actually helped our customer base too, because now they come into a restaurant, a food hall, where they're like, wow, there's so many options, right? So we have, for example, we have a coffee vendor that does local brewed beer, and we have another guy that does all West Coast beers that are brewed from Washington all the way down to here. So it kind of gives the operator the little creativity, the flexibility to kind of spread their wings and their creativity, and it really has helped and provided the community with a really cool place. That's for the AUP. Go on to the CUP, right? Okay. The CUP really kind of ties into what really makes a food hall successful is the programming. It's about having the entertainment permit is about kind of bringing a place alive, right? So it brings families together. It gives the mom and dad that are trying to be cool on the weekends and be like, hey, let's go. There's live music. There's this band going on, this and that. So kids get off their video games and they come out and start seeing people for first time in a week or so. But so it's important to kind of get her out and do all that. So the program is really important. We do live music on Friday, Saturdays. We do like magic shows, comedy shows. We have like this weekend we have last weekend we had a holiday market. We had about 50 vendors, craft vendors from all over, and we try to focus within the city, like in the area. So in the Empire, we'll have people from like Fontana, Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario. Try to tell that story to let the community kind of get behind them. We'll be doing the same thing here. So we want to be able to focus on local businesses and stuff like that, small businesses, give them a platform to kind of showcase their goods, and then that's what Haven City is all about. So the programming with the entertainment permit is kind of what we're really trying to separate ourselves from just another place where you can eat. So I guess that's kind of before I get further deep, I can go all night, but that's kind of the gist of why we would need those two, the AUP and the CUP. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll ask for any other public comment in favor. Any other public comment opposed? Anyone neutral who would like to speak? All right. I will go ahead and allow planning commissioners, if you guys want to ask any questions of the applicant, we can go ahead and open that now if anyone has any questions. Tommy, if you want to come in.
Do you know offhand how many restaurants you will actually have that'll want an alcohol license?
Well, we earmarked 41 spaces. Not every one of them are going to be ordering, like getting the beer and wine license. What we have in Rancho, I can just go off of historical data, pretty much have about, I would say, 45% of our tenants over in Rancho have the beer and wine license. We have like 2 that have liquor licenses. Yeah, so it kind of falls between that. I would say 50%. I mean, that kind of gives it a nice ballpark.
And so now, under your conditional use permit, besides the entertainment, you'd
Sure.
also be getting the conditional use permit for the type 41 and 47?
No, so technically, the tenant will apply for their own beer and wine license with ABC.
But see, as a part of their ABC process,
Sure.
on the application, they're going to be asked if they have a conditional use permit.
Yeah, I think that's what I think that's the AUP for it. I think that's the
Correct. Sorry. So the AUP that they're applying for this evening, the city does not do CUPs for on-site alcohol sales. It's an AUP process. And so it's a master AUP for all of the tenant spaces within that pink outlined area in the food hall. And so the individual business would be able to use this master AUP to apply for their ABC license.
Okay, has the city done that before?
I'm not sure we have. This food hall concept, it's the first one in our community. So, it helps facilitate on the property owners, and instead of coming in and applying for each individual tenant, and it also facilitates it on the city. I think you said 40 vendor spaces.
Yeah, we have 40 vendor spaces.
So that would, and if you're doing 50% of that with alcohol sales.
We'll call it, 20.
Yeah. And so I think part of it too is that it incorporates area of the outdoor patio area where the entertainment's going to be. Right. And so it's not necessarily going to be associated with one vendor space, but as an area as a whole.
Now, when you guys did your facility in Rancho, which, by the way, I've actually been there before.
Okay.
And it was nice. I went with my daughter on
I appreciate it. Thank you.
To get an idea, because there's a smaller facility over in Glendora.
Yes.
Yeah.
Glendora, yes.
In either case, with that one,
Yes.
did you end up in a situation where they did an AUP for those? How did they get their?
In Rancho, the city of Rancho, if you apply as a restaurant, you don't have to. You're automatically allowed a CUP for beer and wine. So essentially what we're doing here, it kind of skips that CUP process. So you're like, if you just go into the city and say, hey, I'm a restaurant, ABC restaurant, and I want to open a license here, or whatever, open a restaurant here, you would take that business license, you go straight to ABC, and then you order your beer and wine. You don't have to go through the CUP process. So that's why I think there's, I think in West Covina, I think you had to go through the CUP. Is that what it was originally?
I guess in LA County,
Yeah.
with the ABC out, if you go onto their website in alcoholic beverage control, they do ask whether or not the business has the CUP.
Right.
So it's called part of the zoning affidavit.
It's kind of like a SWAT. In this case, it's a much more luxury aspect, but it's kind of like a SWAT meet. If they have beer there, it's a general conditional use permit, like Paulina was explaining earlier.
All right. You can go to, one vendor, grab a meal, go to another vendor, grab a drink, and you can walk around with that area within that designated area, which is the highlighted in pink. And so you're not, if you did it per vendor, then it would be the space that you could walk around would be limited to that vendor space.
Right. And I think with their alcohol license, it's going to be based on their actual space.
With their alcohol license, from my understanding, it's within their space, but it's within the usability is within the pink box that we.
Yeah, the pink outline.
Pink outline.
Yeah, so the question they asked on ABC, they'll respond and indicate that there's a general CUP for that location site.
Correct, yes.
And then ABC will conduct an inspection of that site and determine if each stall has the appropriate space to store alcohol or liquor in a safe location, and then also to serve it and so forth.
Well, and seeing the type of license that you're exploring, the 41 and 47, ABC does indicate that they have to have, each of the restaurants have to have a kitchen, and they have
Correct.
whatever
whatever the rules are. Yeah.
that they have to meet.
Yeah, so ABC would obviously it's not as easy as going in there and buying a license.
Correct.
They have to go through their inspections, but they would essentially come back and be like, okay, well, we know this project, we know that you have an AUP here, so they're gonna go down their road and do their approvals in that way. So that's kind of what we did in Rancho as well. So
Yeah.
yes.
Area right here, I don't remember being that big, but you mentioned that there's going to be 41 food stall?
Yes.
41 restaurant.
Inside the highlight area. Yes.
Wow.
There, that area I think was vacant for a while.
Yeah, it was like a single.
There was a food court.
It was a small food court. I think there was only 10 spaces or so like that, and then along the other side there was like single retail spaces that we were connected. We connected, and now we were able to carve out about 42 spaces.
Do you know like the square footage of each of those spaces?
It ranges. It's 400 to 650, something like that, roughly. So they're smaller spaces. But through my experience with the other food hall, the perfect range for an operator is roughly around that size, like 400 to 650. A lot of our tenants like that 600 square foot size.
And keep in mind, ABC could say, okay, that doesn't fall within the law, and you have to go back and get a different type of permit from the city. So at the end of the day, ABC makes a determination on the alcohol aspect of on each and how it's served and so forth. So if ABC doesn't grant them a license, then there's no license, and they cannot sell alcohol.
Tashina's question, though, this is phase one of the renovation for Hong Kong Plaza, and I think Mr. Lee can respond to it if he wants to add, but it's phase one, and so they are expanding what was formerly the food court and expanding it to this food hub center. And they're adding that outdoor dining area, which is going to allow them to have that entertainment space outside. And so that area will be fenced off to allow for individuals to walk around with a drink from the food hall.
Right.
And so, like I said, that's phase one. And I think if you drive by the center today, you can see that they started on the other phases to do facade improvements for the center. So it's I don't know if you have a date of when the whole center will be completed, and if you can share that with us.
Well, I don't.
We're getting close.
Okay.
Close, yeah.
This is a spaces for each stall, right?
Yes, those are the spaces.
You know, it's on the.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that in the plan. Thank you.
And so each location that's selling food have its own kitchen and stove.
Yeah, everybody will have they're fully autonomous.
And and then at that time there'll be a different phrase that actually shows all that detail too.
Any other questions, anyone?
No, I think it looks like a remarkable project that's gonna really. I mean that area is already super packed, and I think adding something like this to our community is going to be very unique. And thank you for continuing to invest in the community of the city of West Covina.
Thanks for having me.
I do have a couple of quick questions for clarification in terms of your intent. So if we go to, let's see, the AUP, I think it's page 2 of it's the CUP. So I did have a question with regard to live entertainment and going into, I think it's paragraph 5 of the proposed CUP resolution number 22-05. 5 sub E, it says live entertainment shall only be allowed in conjunction with the operation of the food hall while the restaurants are open to serve food. I noticed that there were a number of potential events, including private events, weddings, stuff like that was listed. Is the intent to not allow live entertainment for private events? Because effectively that's what it seems that this limitation would do.
Intent to not allow live music I'm catching
So effectively, this would prohibit live music or live entertainment from being allowed unless the restaurants are open to serve food. And so that would effectively mean that if you have a private event or something like that that closes down or occupies the whole center, if the restaurants aren't open to serve food at that point in time, you can't have live entertainment.
That sounds like a capacity issue. Maybe Paulina could explain about if we're having a private party and having those restaurants open simultaneously, that there's probably going to be an overcrowd of overcapacity occurring.
I think the way that the condition is worded now, it's you can only have the entertainment if the restaurants that are there are open and operational. So let's say, for example,
like during business hours.
During business hours,
I think that's kind of the
intent.
intent. Yeah, it's just
Okay,
business hours.
so-
Yeah, maybe the wording is not right, but
I don't think the wording is sufficient. It should say during business hours, I think, but we can address that later. Next, that's paragraph
Would be
paragraph 5E.
an F, I think.
And then I had one more question on, let's see, the administrative use permit number 22-13. One paragraph sub A indicates that the on-sale alcohol use will be in conjunction with the operation of a bona fide restaurant. My question about that is, for example, I'll give you a concrete example of something that is nearby. In the city of Glendora, at Glendora Public Market, Smog City operates a what is in effect a tap room.
right.
So in effect, this AUP would prohibit the opening of any brewery tap room on the facility.
Okay.
And so I'm just trying to figure out, is that the intention from you guys? Is that you want that limitation in place?
No, I think
Can I clarify real quick, if you don't mind, Chair Lewis? So the intent is because this is a master AUP for the area. It would require one bona fide restaurant for the entire space. So you can have all beer or distillery tasting rooms there, as long as a restaurant, bona fide restaurant, wasn't in operation. That would be sufficient.
Okay, so it should say at least one bona fide restaurant, whatever that means.
Well, I think that's an ABC law.
So AUP, the resolution number 22-6117, AUP number 22-13, it says the on-sale alcohol, I don't know if it's on-site or on sale, but it says the on-sale alcohol use will be in conjunction with the operation of a bona fide restaurant. That's paragraph 1 sub A in the resolution, page 2, bottom half of page 2.
What page is that?
Page 2 of the
Page 2.
AUP.
Yeah.
Okay, so it should be at least one. Okay, that was my only question I had.
okay, cool. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other follow-up questions? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's move to discussion, and if we have a motion. Any discussion? Commissioner Hang? Okay. Discussion, Commissioner Williams? Vice Chair Gutierrez? Okay.
So I'll make unless you're going to speak. If not, I'll make a motion to approve conditional use permit number 22-05, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of West Covina, California, approving conditional use permit 2205 for Heaven City Market, applicant David Lai, located at 993 South Glendora Avenue.
If I can throw in those,
Yes,
throw in those two.
With Commissioner Lewis's two changes included.
Okay.
Then I will second.
Yes.
Can I want to verify
Sure.
the changes. So to the conditional use permit,
The changes on the conditional use permit.
5E would be
yeah.
reference to instead of the operation of food hall while restaurants are open, but during business hours.
Correct. I think we would probably put whatever the business hours where amplified music are allowed in the city, and I think it begins at like 8 a.m. and then ends at 10 or 10:30. I can't remember exactly, but whatever the code allows is what I would recommend.
Okay. All right. And then for the AUP, it would be changed to
At least one bona fide restaurant in one sub A.
Yes.
Operation of at least one bona fide restaurant.
perfect. So then I have a motion. I have a second. Commissioner Heng.
Beat me to roll call. Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, Commissioner Heng.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gutierrez.
Aye.
Chair Lewis.
Aye.
Motion passes. Oral.
Congratulations.
Right. This decision is final unless appealed to the City Council within 10 days. All right, moving on. We have no non-hearing items. Let's move to commission reports, comments, and miscellaneous items. Does anyone on the commission have anything to report or comment on at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the Community Development Director's report. Paulina, do you have any items to report to the commission?
Good evening. No, just a couple, well, yes, a couple items. This will be our last Planning Commission for 2022, so wanted to wish everyone a merry and jolly holiday season and wish everyone a happy and prosperous and full of healthy new year. And then also, since we didn't do it last time, but it is, like I said, our last meeting, wanted to congratulate our Chair Lewis for his reelection to as our city clerk. So congratulations.
Thank you, Paulina.
And then announced that at the next city council meeting, December 20th, we will be doing the reorganization of the city council and certifying the election results and welcoming the newly elected individuals. And then in regards to city council actions, we, at the last city council meeting on December 6th, the city council adopted ordinance 2507 and 2506 pertaining to the mixed-use overlay zone and design standards. And we will be bringing before the city council in the beginning of 2023 the shopping cart ordinance that you guys recommended for their approval. So that's it for me this evening.
All right, thank you very much. Since we have no further business to discuss, this meeting is adjourned at 7:29 p.m. Thank you, everyone.